There's a famous confrontation between Elijah the prophet and the people of Israel. And he says to them, Ad Mosai atem poisim al shtei haseifim. How long will you be holding your feet between the two doorsteps, the two door entrances? You cannot go ahead and be a little bit here and a little bit there and say that you're a moderate Jew. If the Lord is the master of the universe, worship the Lord, Hashem. And if it's Baal, worship Baal with all your gut. What do? He says, you worship neither. You don't know which way to go. There's a Hasidic insight, it's a Kabbalistic insight, as to the nature of the prohibition against milk and meat. For all of you out there, that means you can't have a cheeseburger. It's treif, it's not kosher, because it's no good for the Jewish soul. It's no good for a Jew to eat non-kosher in any shape or form, whether it's from the Torah or rabbinic. But a cheeseburger is seen as the height of treifus, of not kosher. So what is the reason why a cheeseburger is such a terrible thing? After all, you are what you eat. And if you eat animals who have horrible natures, it will create a horrible nature within you. You absorb their characteristics within yourself, and it becomes almost impossible to get rid of them. And that would explain 99% of the kosher dietary laws. But what about milk and meat? The milk is chol of Yisrael. It's the best, the choicest, the most nutritious, the most rabbinically supervised milk in the whole world. And they've discovered that there's less single-celled parasites in chol of Yisrael. It's found in a book that I have. That chol of Yisrael, Jewish milk, has almost no single-celled parasites. And then you take a piece of lean beef or lean lamb, and it was slaughtered properly with the greatest of care, and the food gives you the necessary proteins and the vitamins that are necessary for your existence, and actually makes you a healthier person if you were to eat it by itself. Put the two together in a sandwich, and it's treif. Now, what's the secret of that? So the Kabbalah says as follows. Meat is gvuris, toughness, strictness, orderliness. Milk is nurturing, sweetness, cuddling. You mix the two natures together, and they don't work. And one would ask, one could be a cynic and say, wait a second, I got one extreme, I got the other extreme. Why, when I mix them, I should get a happy medium? I've got love, I've got judgment. That should create a medium of tiferes, of beauty, of compassion. And the answer is as follows. When is compassion, when is the middle of the road good? When each element by itself is strong and functions totally. You have a person that's loving and caring and giving. He's ready to give you the shirt off of his back. And then you've got a person who's very organized, meticulous, and you come along, you want something, and he asks you why, what's the proof? And between these two extremes, you have compassion. But if you have a person who doesn't know what he is. He doesn't know whether he's got to be loving or judging. You have a confused person. If something is somewhat this and somewhat that, and he doesn't have an idea of what his true identity is, then it's confused. It's garbled up. There are times when you have to blend things and balance them out. That's when they're healthy and functioning. When things are sick because they're all confused and mixed up, then you have disaster. Then you can have the most kosher, most nutritious milk that can nurture a baby and give the baby good health and allow the baby to grow and to function. And if you mix a shtickle flesh, a piece of meat within it, you will get a sick child. You get a sick personality. And that's the problem with the Jewish community. We think we're moderates. All of those religious people, they're fanatics. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. A little Jewish, a little Goyish, a little sin, a little mitzvah, a little... And what you wind up is a confused and sick Jewish child. And that's the problem when you have a curricula that teaches Judaism as a mere formality, as a tradition. Either God gave us the Torah, and then we're healthy Jews, we believe that God chose us, and we're enthusiastic about it, and we have energy about it, and everything that has to do with Yiddishkeit we feel warm, and we feel enthusiastic, and we want to share with another Jew. Or the opposite is true. And therefore we have to be enthusiastic about being liberals or about being conservatives, or being like a goy. A little bit of Jewishness, a little bit of goyishness is a disaster. You got a confused Jew. We have confused rabbis, don't know what it means to be a Jew. Why? Because their professors and teachers taught them that the whole thing is a joke. And then they come along and they teach their people that it's a joke, that all of these Orthodox don't know what they're doing. And then want their people to show up and give and pay money and want them to continue and teach their children for something that may be just a joke. No, it's not really a joke. It really is important because it's... Why is it so important? They don't know why it's so important. Because in their souls they feel it's true. There's Yiddishkeit, there's truth. The Bible hasn't changed in 3,320 years. You go all over the world, and the distinctions between the Yemenite Chumash and the Ashkenazic Chumash has a difference between 4 and 9 letters out of 304,805 letters. They were not put together. They had no contact for hundreds of years, and yet their Torahs are almost identical. Where does that come from? Their ancestors knew what it was. The Torah is true, and if it's true, we got to preserve it, we got to keep it. That's why they were strong Jews. When you go ahead and you mix secularism with Judaism, with Torah, then you have a formula for milk and meat. It just does not work. It's not a moderate. It's confusing. And so, before Shavuos, and even after Shavuos, let's stop being confused. If the Torah is true, then you and I have to be enthusiastic Jews. And if not, let's be enthusiastic secular people. Let's not be milk toasty people who don't really care. Because that's what happens. That's a cheeseburger.